Hello. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop at 11 o'clock sharp. So yeah, just hang tight in there and we'll get started in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. Just to let you know, I'm planning on starting this wellness workshop All right, everyone, since it's 11 and that's the time that the sleep wellness workshop starts, we're going to get started. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sleep Wellness Workshop. This workshop is part of a 5-part series, the other 4 being mood, thought, stress, and a new one that we have, emotional wellness. That's the time Please that feel the free to Sleep check Wellness those Workshop out starts. right We're going to get after started. this Sleep All right. Wellness Workshop. Hello, everyone. But before we get Welcome to the started, Sleep I would just Wellness want to introduce Workshop. myself. This My workshop name is is part of Chloe a Young. 5-part I am a series, mental the wellness other peer 4 educator being here at mood, CAPS. thought, stress, I am and a new a one that we 4th year have, psychology emotional major, wellness. so I'm just about Please to feel free to graduate. check those Woo! out right And after my this Sleep favorite Wellness color Workshop. is purple. But before we get started, I And just want to introduce myself. before we My get name started, is I Chloe just want Young. to let you I know am a that mental this wellness is peer not educator counseling. here at CAPS. This is I am a so we 4th cannot year psychology maintain major, so I'm just confidentiality. about to graduate. However, we do And encourage my that favorite everything color that is is purple. said Before we get in the started, I just comments want to introduce myself. Before we get is started, I just want to let you know in the that this comments. is not And you counseling. only share stuff that This you're willing to is share with so we cannot to the public. maintain All right, let's get confidentiality. started. However, we do encourage that everything that is said. So here are the objectives for today. First, we're going to learn how sleep impacts the mind and the body. Second, we're going to learn the physical and mental benefits of a good night's sleep before finally learning daily habits and strategies to help improve sleep. So here's a little bit of a true or false question. We're going to play a little game. If you believe it's true, you could put a thumbs up in the comments. Or if you believe it's false, you can put a thumbs down in the comments. Or you can keep track of what you believe is true or false at home. So to function best, you need to get exactly 8 hours of sleep. I'll give you all a few seconds to think about that. Or if you believe it's false, you can put a thumbs down in the comments, or you can keep track of. So this is actually false. We don't need to get exactly 8 hours of sleep. We need to get about 7 to 9 hours for the daily recommendations. So whether you get 7 or 9, it depends on the type of person that you are. So second, if you can get it, more sleep is always healthier. True or false? We need to get about 7 to 9 hours for the daily recommendations. So whether you get 7 or 9, it depends on the type of person that you are. So this is also false. If you get more sleep, studies actually show that you get more groggy, and it's never healthy to have more of a good thing. It's always best to get that 7 to 9 hours, and that's going to be a common theme throughout this presentation. So number 3, some people function perfectly on 4 hours of sleep. True or false? It's never healthy to have more of a good thing. It's always best to get that 7 to 9 hours, and this is actually false. So some people cannot function perfectly on 4 hours of sleep. Again, it is recommended that 7 to 9 hours is the perfect amount. So yeah. Number 4, you can make up for lost sleep on the weekends. True or false? Some people cannot function perfectly on 4 hours of sleep. Again, it is recommended that 7 to 9 hours is the perfect amount. So yeah. Number 4, you can make up for lost sleep on the weekends. This is actually false. So you cannot make up for lost sleep on the weekends. You need to get a consistent amount of sleep per night. Otherwise, you feel more groggy and tired throughout the weekend once it hits Monday. 5, the older you get, the fewer hours of sleep you need. True or false? You need to get a consistent amount of sleep per night. Otherwise, you feel more groggy and tired. This is actually false. So it's not true that the older you get, the fewer hours of sleep you need. It is true that older people like to get up earlier, but they also go to sleep earlier. So it's not the amount amount of hours that change. It's
This is actually
when
false.
they take
So
when they go to
it's
sleep.
not true that
So
you get
6,
fewer
a good
hours of sleep
workout in
in
the
a night.
evening
It
will make
is
you
true
tired,
that
so you'll
older
fall asleep
people
faster.
like to get
True
up
or false?
earlier, but they also go to sleep earlier. So it's not the amount of hours that change, it's
This is
when they go to
This will
sleep.
be true in
So 6,
moderation.
a
So
good
it's
workout in the evening
recommended
will
that
make
you
you
work
tired,
out
so you'll fall
3
asleep
hours
faster.
before you
True
sleep
or false?
because that can actually make your body feel tired and ready for bed. But if you work out anytime before 3 hours of sleep, so let's say you work out
This
one
will be
hour
true
before,
in
your body will not
moderation.
be
So
able
it's
to go to
recommended that
sleep
you
right
work
away
out
because it
3
will still
hours
be
before you
pumping
sleep
full of
because
adrenaline.
that can actually make your
So
body
the more
feel
you know.
tired and ready for
Number
bed.
7,
But if
power
you work
naps can
out
be
anytime
restorative. True
before
or
3
false?
hours of sleep, so let's say you work out
This
1
will be
hour
true
before,
in
your body will not
moderation.
be
So
able
it's
to go to
recommended that
sleep
you
right
work
away
out
because it
3
will still
hours.
be
This is
pumping
also
full of
true in
adrenaline.
moderation.
So the more you
Power
know.
naps
Number 7,
recommended between
power naps
15
can
to
be
45
restorative.
minutes
True or
can actually
false?
be really helpful for the body to catch up quote unquote on sleep, but anything longer than an hour interrupts your
This
circadian
is
rhythm
also
and
true
makes
in
you more
moderation.
tired.
Power
So we'll be
naps
talking more about
recommended
circadian
between
rhythms
15 to
later on in the
45
presentation.
minutes can actually be
So
really helpful for
finally,
the
number
body to
8,
catch up,
alcohol or marijuana
quote
helps you
unquote, on
sleep.
sleep. But anything longer than an hour interrupts your circadian rhythm
And
and
makes
makes
you
you
more
tired.
tired.
Power
So we'll be
naps
talking more about
recommended
circadian
between
rhythms
15 to
later on in the
45
presentation.
minutes can actually be
So
really helpful for
finally,
the
this
body to
is
catch
false.
up, or marijuana
So
helps you sleep.
actually, it's
But
shown
anything
that
longer than an
alcohol and
hour
marijuana
interrupts your circadian
disrupts
rhythm and makes
your
you
REM sleep,
more
which is
tired.
the last
So
stage
we'll
of
be
sleep that
talking
you
more about
need. So you're
circadian
not
rhythms
actually getting
later on
that
in the
deep level of
presentation.
sleep that you need.
This is
You're
false.
getting
So
you're only getting
actually,
surface
it's
level
shown
sleep,
that
which is not
alcohol
good
and
for the body.
marijuana disrupts your REM sleep, which is
All
the
right,
last stage of
so
sleep that
now
you
that
need. So
we've
you're
gone
not
over
actually getting
myths or
that
facts
deep
about
level
sleep,
of sleep
we're going to
that you
talk
need.
about the 5
You're
stages of sleep.
getting
So stage 1
you're only
is
getting
very light
surface
sleep,
level sleep,
so
which is
muscle
not good for
activity
the body.
slows down. Stage 2 is when breathing patterns and heart rates start to slow
So
down.
now
Your
that
body
we've
temperature
gone over
decreases
myths
slightly.
or facts about
Stage 3
sleep,
is
we're
when
gonna
deep
go
sleep
about
starts.
talk about the
So
5
brain
stages
starts
of
to
sleep.
generate slow
So
delta
stage
waves
1 is
before
very light
finally going
sleep.
into stage
So
4,
muscle
which is very
activity
deep
slows
sleep
down.
and muscle activity
Stage
is
2
limited.
is when breathing
And then
patterns and
finally,
heart
stage
rates start to
5,
slow
which is
down. Your body
REM
temperature
sleep,
decreases
otherwise
slightly.
called as
Stage
rapid
3
eye
is
movement
when
sleep.
deep sleep
So
starts.
brain waves
So
speed up
brain
and
starts to
dreams
generate
occur
slow
and your
delta
heart rate
waves
increases.
before
I
finally
just want
going
to
into
let y'all
stage
know
4, which
that
is very deep sleep
we
and muscle
don't
activity
just
is limited.
go from
And then
stage 1 to
finally
stage
stage
5
5,
and
which
then we
is
just wake up. We
REM sleep,
actually go through the 5
otherwise
stages
called
of
as
sleep
rapid eye
multiple
movement
times
sleep.
a night.
So brain
So
waves speed
it's
up and
which
dreams
is why it
occur
is
and your heart
recommended
rate
to get those
increases.
7 to 9
I just
hours
want to
of
let y'all
sleep.
know that we don't
So
just
some
go from
benefits
stage 1 to
we're
stage
going to
5
talk about
and
of
then we just
sleep
wake up.
is
We actually
we're going to
go
start
through
with
the 5
physical. So we
stages of
have
sleep
a
multiple
stronger
times a
immune
night.
system. Your
So
body is
it's
able to
which
repair
is why it is
itself.
recommended to
You
get
get
those 7 to
increased
9 hours of
coordination
sleep.
and performance, and you get to maintain a
So
healthy
some
weight.
benefits
Some
we're going to talk
mental
about of
benefits
sleep
include
is
clearer thinking
we're going
because
to
it
start with
helps
physical.
improve
So we have
concentration.
a stronger
Sleep
immune
is also a
system.
mood
Your body is
enhancer
able to
because it helps
repair
regulate
itself.
your
You
emotions.
get
It's why a
increased
lot of people
coordination
like
and
to say the
performance,
phrase
and
sleep
you
on
get to
it
maintain a healthy
because
weight.
sleep helps you regulate
Some
your
mental
mood. And
benefits
if you
include
think
clear
about a
thinking
certain
because it helps
decision that
improve
gets your emotions all
concentration.
riled up, it can
Sleep
help
is also a mood
regulate your
enhancer
emotions.
because it helps
It's
regulate
also
your
a really good
emotions.
stress
It's why a
reliever,
lot
so
of
it
people like
increases your ability to
to say the
cope.
phrase
I don't
sleep
know
on
if
it
y'all have ever
because
pulled an
sleep
all-nighter
helps you
and then
regulate your mood.
experienced something
And
really
if you think about a certain
stressful
decision that
and you
gets your
got
emotions all
really
riled
grumpy
up, it
because of
can
it.
help
That's probably
regulate
the
your emotions.
reason why is because
It's
you didn't
also
get
a
enough
really good
sleep.
stress reliever, so it
Because
increases your ability to
sleep
cope. I don't know if
allows
y'all have
your
ever
ability to
pulled an
cope.
all-nighter
And
and
it
then
also is great
experienced something
assistance
really
for learning and memory.
stressful and you got really grumpy because of
So
it.
here's
That's probably the reason
the
why is
impact
because
of
you didn't get
sleep
enough sleep.
deprivation. We just talked about the benefits,
Because
and now
it
we're going to be
honestly
talking about
allows y'all
some of
have
the
your ability to
unhealthy
cope. And
reasons
it also
of what
is great
causes sleep
assistance for learning and
deprivation.
memory.
So, for
And
instance,
you
you're
got
3 times
really
more likely
grumpy
to
because
catch a
of it.
cold
So
because
here's
your immune system regenerates
the
itself
impact
during
of
sleep.
sleep deprivation. We just talked about
So
the
if you don't get
benefits,
enough
and now
sleep,
we're
then
going to be
your
talking
immune
about
system starts to
some of the
deteriorate.
unhealthy
So you're 3 times
reasons
more likely to
of
catch a
what
cold,
causes
and you're
sleep
48%
deprivation. So,
increase
for
in developing
instance,
heart
you're 3 times
disease.
more likely to catch a
You
cold
start
because your
craving more
immune
sweet,
system regenerates
salty, and
itself
starchy
during
food,
sleep
and that's
deprivation.
because you have
So, if you
higher
don't get enough
levels of the
sleep,
hunger
then your
hormone
immune
ghrelin,
system
and
starts to
then lower levels of
deteriorate.
appetite
So, you're three
control
times more likely to
hormone
catch a cold,
leptin.
and you're
So if
48%
you've ever stayed
increase in
up
developing
past
heart
midnight and
disease.
you wanted a
You
midnight
start
snack,
craving more
this is probably
sweet,
the reason
salty,
why.
and starchy food, and
Along with
that's
this,
because you have higher levels of the
6,000
hunger
fatal
hormone
car
ghrelin,
crashes are
and then
caused
lower
by
levels of
drowsy
appetite
driving
control
each year. So
hormone
that's
leptin.
really high. So
So
it's
if
very
you've
important
ever
that we
stayed
all
up
get
past
as
midnight and you wanted
enough
a
sleep,
midnight
7 to 9 hours.
this is probably the reason why.
And
starchy food. Along with this,
So now we're gonna identify your
6,000
sleep
fatal car
pattern.
crashes are
I'm gonna
caused
move
by
one
drowsy
slide over
driving each year.
here.
So that's really high. So it's very important that we all get as and you wanted
Enough
a
sleep,
midnight
7 to 9 hours.
this
So
is
on the
probably the reason
left-hand
why.
QR code,
Along with this, so now we're gonna
you
identify
can,
your sleep
there's a little
pattern.
activity to
I'm gonna
identify
move
your sleep
one
pattern.
slide over
So
here. So
I would
that's
like to give
really
y'all
high.
about
So it's
5
very important
minutes
that we
to
all
scan this
get
QR
as
code
and you wanted
and
sleep 7 to 9 hours.
possibly
So on the
go
left-hand
through that
QR
and
code,
identify what your current sleep pattern
you
already
can.
is.
There's a little activity to identify your sleep pattern. So I would like to give y'all about 5 minutes to scan this QR code and possibly go through that and identify what your current sleep pattern already is. There's a little activity to identify your sleep pattern. So I would like to give y'all about 5 minutes to scan this QR code and possibly go through that and identify what your current sleep pattern already is. There's a little activity to identify your sleep pattern. So I would like to give y'all about 5 minutes to scan this QR code and possibly go through that and identify what your current sleep pattern already is. There's a little activity to identify your sleep pattern. So I would like to give y'all about 5 minutes to scan this QR code and possibly go through that and identify what your current sleep pattern already is. There's a little activity to identify your sleep pattern. So I would like to give y'all about 5 minutes to scan this QR code and possibly go through that and identify what your current sleep pattern already is. There's a little activity.
So now I'm going to be talking a little bit about identifying our sleep pattern. So maybe you're still filling it out, maybe not, but hopefully you've finished the little activity of identifying your sleep pattern. So I'm going to be talking about my experiences identifying my sleeping pattern. So for example, I've been known to nap during the day. I work really long shifts. So whenever I get home around like 3 or 4, sometimes I get home at like 7, I tend to take a nap, and those naps can last definitely longer than an hour sometimes, which is totally fine. I mean, like, it would probably be more beneficial for me to limit those naps or set a reminder for myself, or a timer or an alarm, or like, or have one of my roommates wake me up after a certain point. point. But just understanding that
it would
things like
probably
that
be
are
more
completely
beneficial
normal, and that
for me
this
to
whole
limit those
presentation slash
naps or
workshop
set
is for
a
us to
reminder for
identify our current
myself,
sleeping patterns
or a
and find out ways
timer
to
or an
improve upon them.
alarm or have
So
one of
a
my
lot of
roommates remind me
people,
of after
when
a
I do
certain
this
point.
presentation,
But
check
just
off
understanding that things like that are
using
completely
their
normal
device
and
right
that
before bed.
this whole presentation slash
And
workshop is
let's
for
be
us
real,
to
this is
identify
completely
our current
normal.
sleeping patterns
We're all
and find out
human,
ways to improve
and
upon them.
I feel like all of us
So a lot of
are
people,
at least
when
some
I do this
level addicted to
presentation,
their
check
phones.
off
So it's really normal for
using their
people to
device right
scroll
before bed.
at night. But
And
a lot of
let's
people
be
like to
real, this is
do,
completely
for me
normal.
specifically,
We're all human,
what I like to
and
do
we're,
is,
I feel
instead
like
of
all of us
scrolling on social
are
media, maybe I
at least
stop
some level
myself an
addicted
hour right
to
before
their
bed,
phones.
and then I
So
like to
it's
read a
really
book.
normal for people
So
to
just
scroll
finding
at
ways
night.
that you would
And
enjoy
let's
to
be real, this is
uh,
completely normal.
put your phone down like an hour before
What I like to
bed
do
and
is
doing
instead of
something else,
scrolling
something
on
that
social
doesn't require
media,
a
maybe I
screen
stop
to help your
myself an
body
hour right
relax and get
before
ready for
bed.
bed.
And then I like to read a book.
So yeah.
So just finding ways that you would enjoy to
So, what is
uh,
sleep hygiene?
put your phone
Sleep
down
hygiene
like
are
an hour
different
before
habits and
bed and
practices
doing
that may
something
help
else, something that
increase
doesn't
sleep
require a
quality.
screen to
So,
help your
this
body
means
relax and get
probably
ready for bed.
setting a bedtime or establishing a bedtime routine or making sure you have nice, comfortable
So, what is sleep
pajamas or making
hygiene?
sure
Sleep hygiene are
that
different habits and
the
practices that may
environment that
help
you're sleeping
increase
in
sleep
is
quality.
nice,
So,
quiet,
this means
relaxing for you
probably setting a
specifically.
bedtime
Anything that you
or
do to help
establishing a
increase
bedtime
your sleep
routine
quality.
or making sure you have nice,
So now we're
comfortable
going to be
pajamas
watching a
or
little
making
video
sure
about sleep.
that the environment that
Turn
you're
thinking
sleeping
about your
in
bathroom
is nice, quiet, relaxing for you specifically.
into loving
This is
it.
not
Anything that you
sponsored, by
do
the
to
way.
increase your sleep quality or making
Amy's not
sure
at
you
work.
have nice.
She's
So
on
now we're
Get Your
going to be
Guide,
watching a little
planning for
video
her next
about
trip.
sleep.
Turn thinking about your bathroom.
Nice, quiet, relaxing for you
It's 4 a.m.
This is not sponsored, by
and
the
the
way.
big test is in 8 hours, followed by a piano recital. You've been studying and playing for days, but you still don't feel ready for either. So what can you do? Well, you can drink another cup of coffee and spend the next few hours cramming and practicing. But believe it or not, you might be better off closing the books, putting away the music, and going to sleep. Sleep occupies nearly a third of our lives, but many of us give surprisingly little attention and care to it. This neglect is often the result of a major misunderstanding. Sleep isn't lost time, or just a way to rest when all our important work is done. Instead, it's a critical function during which your body balances and regulates its vital systems, affecting respiration and regulating everything from circulation to growth and immune response. That's great, but you can worry about all those things after this test, right? Well, not so fast. It turns out that sleep is also crucial for your brain, with a fifth of your body's circulatory blood being channeled to it as you drift off. And what goes on in your brain while you sleep is an intensely active period of restructuring that's crucial for how our memory works. At first glance, our ability to remember things doesn't seem very impressive at all. 19th century psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus demonstrated that we normally forget 40% of new material within the first 20 minutes, a phenomenon known as the forgetting curve. But this loss can be prevented through memory consolidation, the process by which information is moved from our fleeting short-term memory to our more durable long-term memory. This consolidation occurs with the help of a major part of the brain known as the hippocampus. Its role in long-term memory formation was demonstrated in the 1950s by Brenda Milner in her research with a patient known as HM. After having his hippocampus removed, HM's ability to form new short-term memories was damaged, but he was able to learn physical tasks through repetition. Due to the removal of his hippocampus, HM's ability to form long-term memories was also damaged. What this case revealed, among other things, was that the the hippocampus was specifically involved in the consolidation of long-term declarative memory, such as the facts and concepts you need to remember for that test, rather than procedural memory, such as the finger movements you need to master for that recital. Milner's findings, along with work by Eric Kandel in the 90s, have given us our current model of how this consolidation process works. Sensory data is initially transcribed and temporarily recorded in the neurons as short-term memory. From there, it travels to the hippocampus, which strengthens and enhances the neurons in that cortical area. Thanks to the phenomenon of neuroplasticity, new synaptic buds are formed, allowing new connections between neurons and strengthening the neural network where the information will be returned as long-term memory. So why do we remember some things and not others? Well, there are a few ways to influence the extent and effectiveness of memory retention. For example, memories that are formed in times of heightened feeling or even stress will be better recorded due to the hippocampus's link with emotion. But one of the major factors contributing to memory consolidation is, you guessed it, a good night's sleep. Sleep is composed of 4 stages, the deepest of which are known as slow-wave sleep and rapid eye movement. EEG machines monitoring people during these stages have shown electrical impulses moving between the brainstem, hippocampus, thalamus, and cortex, which serve as relay stations of memory formation. And the different stages of sleep have been shown to help consolidate different types of memories. During the non-REM slow wave sleep, declarative memory is encoded into a temporary store in the anterior part of the hippocampus. Through a continuing dialogue between the cortex and hippocampus, it is then repeatedly reactivated, driving its gradual redistribution to long-term storage in the cortex. REM sleep, on the other hand, with its similarity to waking brain activity, is associated with the consolidation of procedural memory. So based on the studies, going to sleep 3 hours after memorizing your formulas and 1 hour after practicing your scales would be the most ideal. So hopefully you can see now that skimping on sleep not only harms your long-term health, but actually makes it less likely that you'll retain all that knowledge and practice from the previous night, all of which just goes to affirm the wisdom of the phrase, sleep on it. When you think about all the internal restructuring and forming of new connections that occurs while you slumber, you could even say that proper sleep will have you waking up every morning with a new and improved brain, ready to face the challenges ahead. All of which just goes to affirm the wisdom of the phrase, sleep on it. When you think about all the internal restructuring and forming of new connections that occurs while you slumber, you could even say that proper sleep will have you waking
Now
up
that we
every
watched the
morning with a
video,
new and
I'd
improved
like
brain,
you
ready to
to
face the challenges
write
ahead.
down in the comments or on a piece of paper one thing that you found interesting about the video. So, for example, I found it very interesting that people could go to bed at different times and remember a certain amount of information depending on the type of information that they're trying to memorize. So the video said 3 hours before math tests and then 1 hour before practicing your scales or something like that. And I find it so interesting how our brain can process different information in different parts of our brains just for getting a good night's sleep. So yeah, feel free to jot down what you found interesting in the comments or again on a piece of paper. Can process different information in different parts of our brains just for getting a good night's sleep. So now we're going to be talking about sleeping habits. So first is fix bedtime and an awakening time and keep regular hours. So for example, if you go to bed at like 2 a.m. and wake up at, let's say, 11, maybe try setting a bedtime for 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Not 10, not 10 a.m. 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. instead of 2 a.m. Something like that. So light matters. Refrain from using a smartphone device, phone, tablet, computer, etc. Like I mentioned before in this presentation, I like to set my phone down an hour beforehand and read. So doing something that you find interesting for about an hour before you go to bed would really help. So nap smart. Limit the naps to 30 to 45 minutes so you can sleep well at night. Try eliminating or shortening your naps altogether. So that's one's pretty self-explanatory. Setting the limits, you can set an alarm. You can have a family member or a friend wake you up after a certain point. But making sure that if you can't eliminate naps altogether, that's totally fine. Maybe trying to shorten your naps totally works too. So sleep only when tired. If you're not asleep after 30 minutes, get out of bed, get up, and do another activity. So before I started doing these workshops, I didn't know that if you're not asleep after 30 minutes, getting up to do another activity would actually be more beneficial than just laying in bed awake. But what we mean by doing something, we probably mean something that you find kind of boring, like a little bit not too exciting to where you want to stay up and continue doing it, but not so boring that you just don't want to do it altogether. Something like coloring, maybe reading a short story, something like that. So learn to associate your bed with relaxation and avoiding stressful situations like paying the bills, watching scary movies, watching the news around bedtime. So if you avoid stressful situations, then your body won't be hyper aware when if you were paying the bills or watching scary movies beforehand. Watching the news around bedtime. So physical exercise. Exercising regularly can really help improve your sleep levels, but it doesn't have to be like a full body workout or anything like that. Brisk walks in the late afternoon can help make your body feel tired and help you to sleep. But also do not exercise before bed. So strenuous exercise within 2 hours before bedtime can decrease your ability to fall asleep. So along with this, we also have a bedtime routine. So these are examples of what you can incorporate into your bedtime routine, or if you don't already have a bedtime routine, you can take these examples and start creating your own. So for example, food, some hot herbal tea, warm milk, or a banana can satiate your stomach before bed. Having a bath can really help relax your muscles right before you go to bed, and a lot of people like to feel clean right before they go to bed, so that's really nice too. Going to bed at the same time, it tricks your body into thinking that, oh, hey, it's time to go to sleep, and then immediately you feel tired. So that's one way to help, I guess, trick your body into going to bed around the same time. So pre-sleep exercise, a lot of people like to practice gratitude right before they go to bed. It really helps them feel grateful about the things that they have in their life or the things that happen to them throughout the week or even that day, just to end the day on a good note. For relaxation, some deep breathing exercises, relaxing music, progressive muscle relaxation can really help relax the body, along with meditation too. So clearing your mind, helping to practice mindfulness can really help you let go of the worries that you're thinking about that has been clouding your thoughts throughout the day. So practicing meditation can really help practice mindfulness. Leaving worries behind worry time. A lot of people like to keep a journal or a to-do list so they can write down things that they need to do the following day. And yeah, and then finally, sleep position. We don't want to feel like we're in a twisted pretzel. We don't want to wake up with cricks in our necks and our backs. It's not good. So we want to find a sleeping position that is healthy for our body and also won't make us feel sore when we get up in the morning. We don't want to feel like we're in a twisted pretzel. We don't want to wake up with cricks in our necks. Next is our sleep environment. I don't know how this guy in front of the TSU is doing it, how he's sleeping so peacefully, but I will give him credit for one thing, in that he has a bed. So he has a mattress, he has pillows, he has linens, he has all those sorts of things. And a bed is really important for getting that peaceful sleep that you need. Temperature is also really important. So if you're someone who gets really cold at night, maybe turning the heat up or piling on blankets, or if you're someone who gets really hot at night, maybe keeping a fan or keeping less blankets on would be more beneficial. Noise and light. Keep light and outside noises to a minimum. Replacing TV and computer monitors with soft music, fan, or otherwise white noise. So a lot of people like to put on some music, some raindrops in the background. I know a lot of people like to put on thunder sounds. So whatever's relaxing to you and will help you sleep. Some ventilation, humidifier, air purifier if you have allergies, and only using your bed for sleep or sex. Remember, we really want to associate our bed with relaxation. We don't want it to associate with anything stressful. So only using it for sleep or sex, nothing like homework or bills or anything like that. And only using your bed for sleep or sex. So now we're going to talk about the impact of sleep deprivation. So if you have another piece of paper, or feel free to comment down below as well. What do you currently practice? And what are some new skills that you would like to take away from this presentation? So for me, some new skills that I would like to start implementing is the hot herbal tea every night. I don't have tea that often, but when I do, I found it really helps me to go to sleep faster. So making sure to incorporate that into my bedtime routine before I brush my teeth and all that. And something that I would really like to do is probably make a to-do list for the next day. So because I have a lot of anxieties about the future and what I need to do for the next day. So I feel like making a to-do list for things I need to do the next day would actually be really beneficial for me. So those are just some examples that you can say in your paper or in the comments. So I'll give y'all a minute to type or write that out. A to-do list for things I need to do the next day would actually be really beneficial for me. So those are just some examples that you can say in your paper or in the comments. So I'll give y'all a minute to type or write that out. A to-do list for things I need to do the next day would actually be really beneficial for me. So those are just some examples that you can say in your paper or in the comments. So I'll give y'all a minute to type or write that out. A to-do list for things I need to do the next day would actually be really beneficial for me.
So those are just some examples that you can say in the paper or in the comments. So I'll give y'all a minute to type or write that out. A to-do list for things I need to do the next day would actually be really beneficial for me.
All right, so now that we have gone over most of the skills that you can implement into your sleep practices, I want to turn y'all towards u.fullerton. So u.fullerton.edu is an online wellness platform free for students, faculty, and staff. It has a lot of articles that are peer-reviewed, so you know that the information that you're reading is accurate and true. We have all of our favorite activities and articles found on u.fullerton about sleep, such as counting sleep, how to succeed sleep, difficulty sleeping, and a lot more topics than just sleep. You can look up on topics such as finances, how to get a job, we have all of our food and housing stability, stress, wellness topics, anything that you can imagine. So it's really helpful for students, and if you're interested, feel free to scan that QR code on the bottom right corner of the screen, or you can type in u.fullerton.edu. Along with this, we also have Compass. So compass.fullerton.edu is another online wellness platform free for students, faculty, and staff. It acts kind of like a compass in that it points you to different on and off campus resources depending on your situation. So whether it's for you or a friend, or whether it's for a mental health crisis, or like anything like that, go to compass.fullerton.edu and it'll direct you to the resources that you need. So whether it's for you or a friend. So finally, I kind of want to end off this presentation on emphasis on being kind to ourselves. So I know throughout the day we kind of avoid talking to ourselves in a positive light because as humans we see things more towards a negative aspect of ourselves, but for ourselves it shouldn't be true. We are our own worst critics, so it's important that we all practice self-compassion towards ourselves. I want to read this quote by Kirsten Neff. So instead of mercilessly judging and criticizing yourself for various inadequacies or shortcomings, self-compassion means you are kind and understanding when confronted with personal failings. So I just think that quote is very powerful, and it really helps to remind you to be compassionate, not just towards others, but to yourself as well. So how do we practice self-compassion for ourselves? Well, here is where the impact of positive affirmations come in. So positive affirmations, we can practice them whenever we go out, or whether we stay in, or we could just practice them whenever. So for example, let's say you fail a math exam or whatever, and you talk to yourself like, oh my gosh, I'm really bad at math, like I'm so stupid, or something like that. And the way that you can reframe that sort of negative self-talk is by saying, oh, I'm so stupid, like I suck at math. Maybe you can say instead, oh, like I didn't do so well on this exam, but that doesn't mean I can't improve for the next one. Like taking it as a learning opportunity instead of an opportunity to put yourself down. So a little bit of a reflection for the day. Who here has been kind to themselves? You can raise your hand, only you will know that. But raise your hand, perfect. If you didn't, that's totally okay. On the left-hand side of the QR code, we have the self-compassion scale. It allows you to like rate yourself on how much self-compassion you give to yourself, like per day or per week.
And if you take the scale and you're like, ooh, maybe I didn't do so well on the score that I wanted, you can always visit the QR code on the right-hand side of the screen, and that will lead you to this worksheet, which can help you practice more self-compassion for yourself.
And you're like, ooh, maybe I didn't do so well.
And finally, here's a list of all of the CAPS resources. So starting off, we have our blue tier, which is our online-based service sheet. I kind of already went over Compass and UPU, but we also have our CAPS website and our social media. Follow us at CSUF CAPS. And then in our green tier, we have our little to no commitment-based services, starting with doggy therapy, which is our most popular service on campus, where dogs come onto campus and you can pet them, all the way to our therapy groups, which more should be coming up in fall semester, which are led by licensed clinical counselors, and you can call, make an appointment, and then you would join them in the campus. In our yellow tier, we have our should be coming up in fall semester, just individual, which are led by psychiatry if you're looking for medication, and massage therapy paired with short-term therapy. And then finally, we have our red crisis services with our CAPS and UPD crisis team, where a counselor and an unarmed police officer can assist someone on campus if they're experiencing a mental health crisis, if they can't make it, or call our phone number. And we also have our 24-hour crisis hotline, which is the same phone number that you would call for an appointment. We are located in Titan Hall, first floor, and if you have any questions about any of our resources, please feel free to scan our website or follow us on Instagram. Which is the same phone number that you would. All right, thank you so much for attending. We hope you enjoyed this wellness workshop on YouTube Live. Again, please follow us at CSUF CAPS, and please scan this QR code on the left-hand side of the screen. We would really like, this really helps us to see what we can improve on in our presentations and what we can do, what we're doing well now. So we would really appreciate if you if you scan that QR code and fill that out. And or you can copy this link down here. So yeah, thank you so much. And that is all. Thank you. If you scan that QR code and fill that out. And or you can copy this link down here. So yeah, thank you so much. And that is all. Thank you. If you scan that QR code and fill that out. And thank you so much, Julie. Copy this link down here. So yeah, thank you so much. And that is all.